Financial aid is something that we try to have every student apply for at River. It can be applied to 4 universities, it can be applied to community colleges, it can be applied to technical schools, trade schools, and even some certificate programs. So even if your student isn't thinking about going straight into like a more traditional university pathway after school, it's still important to go ahead and fill out this application. And basically what it is, it's an application that collects your family income information. And from that information, it offers certain types of financial aid that may be able to support the student in attending one of those pathways after high school. So the different types of financial aid that are included in this assessment that your student may receive are grants, which is totally free money that you don't have to pay back. Some scholarships require that you completed a financial aid application, which is also free money that doesn't have to get paid back. Students can be eligible for work-study options, which means that a student would hold a job on campus and receive money for working that job that they could then put towards their tuition. And then there also is typically loans listed on the financial aid application when you get that information back. So that can be loans, there are subsidized loans, which are loans that have no interest charged throughout the time that the student is attending school. They only start charging interest 6 months after the student graduates. There's also unsubsidized loans that start charging interest the moment the student takes it out. And then there's often Parent Plus loans that are offered where the student can actually co-sign with their parent on a loan and have that amount taken out to cover the cost of attending school. So financial aid is just one way that we figure out how to pay for students to be able to attend their schooling after high school. Financial aid comes from several different places. So it is a federal application, which means that there is federal money that gets given to our state to be dispersed for the purposes of students attending school after high school. Our state in Washington actually has its own pot of money as well that offers students who have a higher income threshold in their family opportunities for things like grants and loans that many other states don't receive. Many of the colleges also use a financial aid application to determine what scholarships and financial aid they will offer the student. And then also, of course, many organizations, foundations, nonprofits, businesses, churches, anyone that's offering a scholarship may use financial aid information to determine if they're going to offer the scholarship they have available. So the FAFSA is one of those applications for financial aid. Most of our students apply for the FAFSA, and you apply for the FAFSA if you have a social security number, if the student has a social security number. And these are the basic steps to start the FAFSA. So the first thing is to have your student create a student ID. And the website is listed on the screen here. And then at least one parent also needs to create an ID. From there, after you both have IDs, you'll be able to complete the FAFSA form on the second website that's listed here. And in order to complete that form, you typically need a copy of parents' 2020 taxes. If the student worked in 2020, you'll also need a copy of the student's 2020 taxes. Any W-2s from jobs worked in 2020 for both the student and the parent. And then you'll need to know your social security numbers to be able to create the initial IDs. Sometimes the FAFSA application will give you the opportunity to link your IRS account with the FAFSA application. And if this goes smoothly and works, then you may not even need to have your tax forms available. But there are times when that connection doesn't happen. And so I try to encourage students and families to go ahead and have those forms with you so that if it doesn't link correctly, that you're able to finish that application when you're in there ready to do it. For some students, their situation may be unique. So if a student does not have a social security number, is not a US citizen, then they will fill out the FAFSA. If they do have a social security number and they are a US citizen, they will fill out the FAFSA. Even if their parents do not have a social security number and are not US citizens, the student will still fill out the FAFSA if they themselves are a US citizen. If both the student and the parents are not US citizens, then they will fill out something called the WASFA. And the link to that is right here. That's a special Washington state application that students who are undocumented are able to fill out in order to pursue college after high school. If your student is homeless or has been in foster care at all since the age of 13, that student does not need to provide any of their parental information on their FAFSA. They can fill it out as what's called an independent student. The same goes for any students who have parents, both parents who are deceased, even if they're living with another legal guardian. They do not need to provide any information for that legal guardian when they fill out the FAFSA. And if your student has any other type of unique situation or your family has a unique situation, I'm happy to meet with you to talk more in detail about how to handle that situation on the FAFSA. There are lots of little details that can be kind of tricky to understand. And so I'm happy to help you through that. Just reach out. Families should try to complete the FAFSA application by December 31st, but at the time